Well, how's everybody doing out there today? This is Greg and Mike. Greg Talfan, Mike Jackson from the Music Combine with the State of the Union.
Yeah, welcome to the State of the Union Sunday.
We every week we're here to add some tidbits of value for you guys. Plenty of value for you guys that you can use for yourself. So I was talking with him, Mike, about he's recording engineer, and that's what he does. That's how I know him originally. But we're going in the recording studio as a musician was more of like a real privilege. And you took it so seriously. You had like 6 months of pre-production before you went in, or even 3 months. But I think even more than that, like a year. You'd be writing your material. You'd go out. You'd get somebody like Mike to listen to it. He'd give you your 2 cents on it. He'd help. You let somebody in like Mike as an producer that lets you as kind of like the next band member. That's the band member that you never had, that gives you some real perspective outside of yourself. Because what happens is you start getting very objective to your everything you're doing, and you're sensitive, and your emotions are so tied in because it's your art, and we understand that. So to have somebody outside of you that you can trust and lend their expertise, it helps big time. But we would get prepared, and it would be a rigorous process, especially when you're first starting out. And then really knowing, like, from playing live to being a recording artist, right? There's 2 different streaks. It's an experience. So you can literally, if you don't know what you're doing before you go in there, you can literally throw away all your money.
Yeah. And I think also too, if you don't have the recording experience, it is so accessible now to. Here's 2 things about this.
Oh, that's the other side of it. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, it's very accessible now, but here's the 2 things about it. There's almost, in my opinion, there's almost no reason why anybody at this point should have a problem, like either playing the drums or their shit shouldn't be tight. And I don't mean by fixing it in a computer.
You mean like performing it?
Yeah, performing it. I think that, not to give everything to Apple or Logic, but I mean, with Drummer Track, you literally can spend hours honing your skills playing to a drummer.
Mm-hmm. And explain that experience, because I'm a drummer, you're not a drummer. So
yeah, but the thing is the reason I say that is most guitar players will, at least in my day, I think of one guy. I had this conversation with him. He was a guitar player for Tommy Lee, and he's from Parker Ridge. This guy, John Allen. John's big time sound guy now, but he's played for a lot of different people.
Right.
And John and I had a conversation one time, and we were talking about a certain musician, and, I had worked with him in the studio in another band, but John had played with him as well. And it was, but then we were talking about musicians in general. I asked him, I said, why were you so good just out of the box, dude? He goes, it's easy. He goes, I played to a drum machine. I worked with a 4-track before there was Logic or anything else, 4 tracks and, all that kind of stuff.
Well, if you have if you have exactly,
you have it now. I mean, you have more than that now, just with GarageBand. I
mean, even just with people making beats, there's guys that don't play drums that just make beats, and that shows you the accessibility of technology to have a reach like that, to allow people that don't have the background to be able to put the really good stuff out there still. However, what we were talking about is, I think there's a very valuable lesson or lessons to be learned and had as part of your arsenal of tools to use when you have that ability to really perform something like a machine to the point where it's organic, but it's still coming off as very stable.
Well, I think the thing too is that the one thing I always worked on with you when you were very young was playing to the click.
Yes,
is the most sterile fucking thing in the world.
Yeah,
I think to play to sterility a little bit, so that when you do play with a really good drummer, at least it gives you kind of where you could be, and then you can play with it where you're behind it, ahead of it, playing with kind of the feel.
Push and pull.
Anything else? Push and pull.
Which makes you a little natural, and then getting back to what.
And by the way, by saying that, no one ever go in the studio and say, "Well, it's push and pull" if you're not playing it. Playing it.
No, there's a difference.
There's a difference between
there's a big off, like way too fast and push and pull. It's like we're talking about the cusp of being perfectly on and a little bit off, like by a millisecond, because some drummers have more of that pullback feel, like they're that behind the beat, or the BPM, the beats per minute, or they're a little ahead of it. You want to be right in the middle, and you want to just, there's that little margin for play. But anything beyond that, you shouldn't be in the studio until you have it to that level. And that's where I get into saying, like, as a player, I've always been ready and prepared. After something like my first experience, before knowing about the metronome and how imperative it was, that I wasted 8.5 hours at the age of 15 in the recording studio. And this guy's telling me behind the booth, his name was Bill Holiday from Paramus. You might know that guy. I don't know. He used to work with Jay a little bit.
With who?
Jay DeZuzio.
Oh, did he? I
he did. Know. Like, dude, this is like when I was 15. So like, this guy had a shed in his backyard, and it was a studio, and it was pretty legit. It was pretty awesome, even though he was kind of scary guy. He's like, you want to feel my leg? Just make a feel. I'll take you all on right now. We're like, what do we do? We're just
kind of like that weirdo New Jersey guy that, like,
absolutely, exactly.
So there's been a bunch of studios like that in New Jersey. I know I'm not going to name names. I remember one of them I walked in, smelled like total cat piss.
That's like Zounds, I think. In
No. This was a studio down all the way by the Jersey Shore, like shore trash studio.
This is pretty common though in studios. The ones I'm talking about, I literally was about like getting on the kit and kicked the bass drum, and a cat came out of it, like fucking meow. Like, I'm like, wow, this place is fucking something. But we're having fun here. No, seriously though, like, getting back to what I'm talking about is being able to play something very well, versus learning how to record yourself. So what I was saying was, back then, after that experience where I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, after 8.5 hours on one song, like only a half of the song, I got to really learning how to do the metronome correctly and learning how to play to it. And it's probably the most important thing you could do as a musician, as a guitar player. One, if you don't have a drummer, if you don't have anybody to play with, it's great to just keep you on, because it really, it reveals the truth. You can never go wrong by it unless you're delusional. So by sticking with something like that, it really helps you do the transformation thing when you're going from recording in a studio where you're depending on an audio engineer to get you through the session versus yourself. So when you're by yourself, which I've been doing now, has been an experience of just laying down tracks and learning how to be delicate and playing guitar and not playing so hard, because you just let the effect of the distortion take the reins and like feel the delicacy of playing. And that's all dynamic. So, it's something you learn. It's something learned in experience. And based on the situation that's going on right now, everybody who's not doing this, which is mostly everybody, should be throwing themselves into something like this. And that's what it's going to pay like major momentum for you later on. So yeah, that was my 2 cents on that. But I get back to the days where I would get myself all amped up to go into the studio, and it'd be such a big deal. And when I finished what I was supposed to be doing, it was such a great feeling. Now it's all right. Now I have to take responsibility and start learning how to do this myself. So it's like a whole different, it's the same type of discipline, but it's the other side of it. Mike, would you care to comment?
It's just so, I'm sitting here thinking about what you're saying and just taking it in. I really feel it's gotten so different. You know what I mean? Like,
so much easier now, I think.
Yeah, easier, even from an engineering's point of view, from when Pro Tools was really on the scene in the late 90s to now. It's gotten so much easier. And I remember, dude, with Logic, you needed to it was so super complicated before Mac owned it.
Mm-hmm.
Where you had to have your foot up in the air and your wind had to be just right. And this is how, because there was no easy way to build sessions or anything in it.
Oh, that's a lot of other compensating factors that
there was you had to have a rocket scientist degree to run Logic.
I remember Logic before it was on Mac, and I was just, it was weird.
Yeah, you could have it on PC or Mac, and it was just, and a lot of PC users were using Logic because it was really, really robust.
Yeah.
But, our buddy Machine has never used anything other than Logic.
Yeah. I mean,
every Lamb of God record he's done, every freaking Head B record he's done, he's always used Logic.
But then it goes to say, if a lot of these programs are good,
but let's really kind of, well, 1 second though. I think we're getting deeper in the wormhole than we need to.
No,
let's talk about this Adam Ivy thing.
No, we'll talk about that. I just wanted one more thing to you. What you're saying is, if you know how to use the program, you know how to use a program. People prefer Pro Tools. That's great.
It's preference.
The interface is the DAW's a little intimidated for me. But when I look at GarageBand and then you look at Logic, Logic is just on steroids.
Yeah, GarageBand's basically the Fisher Price version of Logic.
Gotcha. I got you. Now, what is the Fisher Price version of Pro Tools?
Fisher Price version, it was probably Pro Tools LE.
Okay, yeah.
You really need to buy Pro Tools as full bore for it to work right.
Gotcha.
And it's more expensive. They don't get, I don't know about now. I haven't bought it recently, but
you used to use Pro Tools all the time.
Exclusively,
right?
But it was an expensive fucking deal, dude. Like, every time I would upgrade something, because at that time, that's when Mac really started getting into every 2 years changing the fucking computer totally. And Pro Tools couldn't, in Avid at the time, Digidesign at the time, couldn't keep up with Mac. So like literally you would have to hang out on the last version. Like this was around like 5.9 into 6. So like 2003. And what would happen is like, every 2 years you were buying another computer. And it was like, literally, I remember one time when I made the jump to HD in 2003, 2002, it was a $10,000 ordeal.
Wow. Now is it
just for Waves? Just to upgrade my Waves bundle.
And then your Waves
bundle 6Gs.
What you recently gotten, like compared to back then.
I ain't by the bundle, but the thing is, the bundle now that I would have gotten back then,
that's what I mean,
is a 1% of the price.
1%. Yeah, exactly.
No, seriously, that's the truth. Or 5% of the price. Like it's gotten to the point where they want it in everybody's hands, because the thing is also you got to realize those products were designed when there were a lot of recording studios and audio engineers were in demand and recording studios were in demand.
Yeah.
Now your market has shifted. So now you have to put it in every house.
Right. You got to make it more accessible to everybody because everybody's making recording accessible to them.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're competing in the market.
Speaking of accessible, if you talk about that, there's, obviously every week we follow several different mentors in the business that speak a very good. They bring good content, and
they bring good content.
Make good content.
He's a good content.
He's a good kid. He's a good kid. I won the money. I won.
Is that from Mr. Deeds?
No, that's from Vegas Vacation. Mr. Deeds.
Oh my God.
I don't know what it is. I like feet. John Gigliero, whatever his name is.
Oh, you mean Buscemi?
No. Other guy. What's fucking the butler?
Oh, gotcha.
No, the guy that Jesus and freaking.
John Turturro.
Carol, thank you. People say I look like him, which is, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Anyway,
far to good looks.
He's fucking hilarious. So there's new features that are always coming out. We're always like imploring everybody, we have to do it ourselves, take advantage of those new features because they literally, like with Instagram, with the reels, there's all different kinds, the stories, the reels, the carousels, everything. Using the newest features is the best way to get a boost in your basic algorithm for your brand and getting yourself out there in front of the right people, and it seems to push you more and more frequently as opposed to the older things. So they'd like to see that kind of activity on their newer features. So Facebook has been lagging with the whole not being able to perform a live now, like the live band thing. They take that away from you, and like you can't perform covers on there. So that's a bummer. So I think this is a way for them making it up to us. Is they've come out with a way to collaborate, and tying in everything. This ties into what we just were talking about and why we're talking about it. It allows you to collaborate. If I wanted to collaborate on a song with Mike, we can literally use the platform, the technology that's already inherently there without having to go into a studio and do anything ourselves, and just plug into the DAW of the actual collaboration software within Facebook, and I could record my part and he can record his part, and we can collab. Whether it's me playing drums and him playing guitar, or him singing and me playing guitar, or whatever you want, you can get as creative as you want. There's 3 15-second modules, and you can put those together whatever way you want. So he's imploring us to start using that immediately, because they're making up for that fact that we can't do those covers anymore because they're going to pull our page down and whatever. So this is a great way to, and this is what he was saying too, is like, not hide behind. You don't have to really put yourself in front of there where like you're showing your face. You could do it. You could put something else up, and just have you playing music behind it, and that's it. However, we implore you to get your face out there, because people need to know who you are, and that is more captivating. I mean, it doesn't really matter as long as you're doing something cool. It's cool regardless. So, yeah, I'm pretty pumped about it. I mean, what do you think about it?
I think it's cool. I think it gives the artist that doesn't, or not really technically inclined, who just wants to, because you always like run into that guy who's the singer songwriter and is afraid of technology for one reason or another. And to me, that's like, this is what this does, is it kind of bond, it bridges the gap.
There you go.
For that guy. And I think you're going to see cool collaborations. I think what also this brings into the fold, which Ivy didn't really talk about, which I could see Facebook moving it forward, is doing like a TikTok for artists or whatever.
A TikTok. Oh, well,
like a TikTok style platform where you guys are collaborating out there.
Well, they do have TikTok duets, just so you know.
Yeah, I know they do, but Facebook wants to desperately get into that space. You can see.
I think this is their
way in.
Their way in. Yeah, absolutely. Because they were kind of lagging behind for a little bit, with what's going on. I mean, the Facebook's great. They have they have one of the most sophisticated algorithms out there. Any way to get a fan through that journey, which way is possible. And they are really, really adamant about showing you how to do that step by step. You can literally open up, and if you want to do an ad for driving traffic to your website, you can open up in the background of your page and put Facebook web traffic, and then it will step by step tell you exactly what to do. And that's all you have to do.
So the other thing with that, just back up 1 second. I agree with you on that one, by the way. That's actually an excellent way to do it. Here's the other thing though.
Yeah.
If you look at big technology companies, they come up with these great ideas and they have people who design them, right?
Sure.
And market research is better than it's ever been. Does everybody remember the Zune?
The Zune?
Yeah, from Microsoft.
No, I don't.
It was their answer to the fucking iPod.
Oh, okay.
And that's why you don't remember it, because they couldn't cover the space in the market.
Okay.
And what I feel also about this is I could see it flipping the other way, where this goes to the death of the Zune. Because really, if you look at it, Instagram lends itself so much more to musicians than Facebook does.
It's kind of, and listen, you're entitled to an opinion, but I'll tell you, Facebook owns Instagram, so it's because.
Yeah, but the platforms run kind of independently, even though you can post stuff. You know what I mean? Even the stories get shared on it. But if you look at how friendly Instagram is to artists versus Facebook.
I think they're both. Yeah, I think Instagram definitely as of late is leaned on more than Facebook when it comes to running. I think more of product material based ads. So if you're driving somebody to an actual technology, to an actual product that you're using, versus them driving them through them to hear your single and put them through a funnel that way. I feel that the ads on Facebook do better there. That everything with that is on the Facebook end. But when it comes to like branding yourself and like the constant contact, it's good to do both. But I mean,
I agree. I'm not saying that you forego Facebook, because the thing is, you pretty much can't have an Instagram account without shitbag Facebook. Like, I hate Facebook.
Well, you're going to like Facebook in the fact that what it does for a lot of reasons.
Oh, no. I mean, it does a lot of great things for advertising and stuff like that.
That's the thing. That's what's great about it. I mean, for when you're talking about, whatever you're thinking, which might be the next topic of the conversation we could close with, is which cynicism and skeptical and everything. This kind of ties into that too. And we're touching on these topics, guys. You can go to Adam Ivy's Adam Ivy at YouTube and look at this video yourselves and watch it. It's 5.5 minutes. And you learn a lot from it. I implore you to watch a lot of his videos. The guy's great, especially when it comes to Instagram. Dude. And Mike, you are correct. I mean, just right now, it can change, in a week, but he's very, very much about Instagram. But a lot of what he says is directly give your fans somewhere to go, a call to action, to drive them to that one platform instead of just all. I mean, we drive people to our link tree, which drives them to whatever they want to subscribe to. But, we're independently put out other things that will drive them to YouTube, Spotify, and blah, blah, blah. So he's saying, don't just leave things hanging. When you do your content, if you put something out there, just say, hey, listen, you want to hear more about this? Subscribe here. Boom. Like, put that little disclaimer there. Don't just leave it, as pissing in the wind, because people will just go to the next thing. If you don't put yourself out there and ask for it in a nice, kindly way after showing something that you're giving value for. And I'm not asking, I'm not telling you to tell them to buy anything. I'm just saying to subscribe and more exclusive, behind the scenes, content. Just subscribe to our emailing list and join our movement, and we'd love to have you on the journey with us. And that's where you want to position it, so you're not really telling people what to do. You're giving them something valuable. You just told them about your pedals, like your Kemper, whatever you got there, and you're telling them how you use it and how you use it for your music, and this is how you can too, and I think this is good because blah blah blah, and then boom, and then subscribe here for more. It's just those little things that, I mean, I've been guilty of not doing, that I know is important, that I've been doing. It just hammers that point home, because we're all learning. And the other thing is, just, if you don't like Facebook because Facebook, everybody that is on there and they're searching and trolling around, that's what he's talking about in this next clip. Is he's saying that essentially that you're going to have those people that literally might cripple you from even putting anything out there because you see one bad comment or a couple bad comments. Yeah. You're just like, that guy's just there because he's literally trolling people, and that's what he does. But you're going to let that one person that never had any success because he's doing not what he should be doing, you're going to let that person stop you? Like, really? Like, that one guy or two guys? Like,
I think when people start getting into the whole listening to what other people's opinions are and not
listening to themselves.
Yeah, listen to themselves and staying on the straight line, man. Like, you can't. I don't break stride for anybody. There's nobody.
You shouldn't break stride from anybody.
Yeah, for anybody.
I mean,
and I've never have. Like, it's like on to the next thing,
Well, this is what he's saying too. He's basically telling you, like, you grew up a certain way and people were projecting themselves onto you, letting you know that, this is something why would you even do that? Like, I've had my own best friend tell me, why do you still play music? Like, I don't get it. Why do you still do it? Like, and it's not about being a rock star. It's literally about doing something that makes
enjoyment of it.
Enjoying. And then the challenge of monetizing it. I mean, that's the new thing that we've never done with any of the bands in our past until now, that we started pushing this, because that's their mentality. Because God forbid you go out of your comfort zone and you do something that's going to really push you to do something you've never done before, and then to have somebody tell you that it won't work when they never did it before. You'd be an idiot to listen to that person. Listen to the person that's doing it. And that's why we have this podcast. We are interviewing people that are doing it. And it's obviously clear that it's more than possible. So don't let anybody fucking tell you that, because you'd be lying to yourself. And, your parents are probably, there's parents out there now, I think more new school. And this gets into another touchy topic. Like, they want their kids to play. And that's another source of revenue, guys, by the way. If you're not teaching or putting yourself out there, it's a great source of revenue. And you can really, really hone your skills in and get referrals. And that's another thing I do myself that I've been doing, since I got out of high school. And I literally give my band directors referral, and they go and talk to him, and I get in because I had that background and experience, and I'm sure you do too. Don't waste it. You could be teaching little kids and helping them, and you could do it virtually, which is great, and that's what I've been doing. So that's just another thing to tap into. However, again, if you're just I was always on this thing, like, and you were too. I remember you talk about it all the time, like where the regular job is like the thing that you have to have because it's just the right thing to do. Well, what if I just told you that was complete bullshit and it's the opposite?
Yep.
And you don't go out of your time box when you're working on your regular job to start subsidizing your regular income by doing things that are going to push your music to subsidize for that income that you were making at your job. You're doing yourself a disservice, and you're going to have to do it when you don't want to. And that's the thing. That's the hardest part. But you could sit there and just say, I don't want to do it. Or you could just do something to push it towards it and follow some steps, or follow what we're doing, what we're giving out, what we're telling you. These people that go to, the courses are great, they're informative, and they fucking work. And we're gonna shoot for getting some of these guys on the podcast too. That's one of my goals too, and that should probably not be very hard to do. But I'm saying right now, you have the ability to do a lot of things. Don't let fucking other people, one little comment here, one little comment there. Because the truth is, they're watching you, but they're watching you because they want to see you fall. Don't let them. Don't give
them the satisfaction.
Yeah, don't give them the satisfaction, man. Trust me.
The satisfaction.
And by the way, I mean, this is really shallow, but your perception of what you do and what you put out there, when people see you, that's what they think of you. They don't think of you a guy that works in a manufacturing facility. They think of you as somebody that's a musician that's out there. So let that act as if motto that we get from personal development and self-confidence is it's so important. Act as if you're already doing what you love to do, because you are, and eventually it will just fall into place. And that's my piece on that. So
good times.
Yeah. So, I mean, listen, we do this every week, State of the Union. Appreciate any questions you guys have. Go to our website, themusiccombine.com, the Music Combine now on Instagram and YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And we will be having another episode come out on Friday. Can you say who it is? Or
yeah, so what we're gonna do is Best of the State of the Union. We're holding off to any new episodes because I think we're getting them together. But like tomorrow, we're interviewing Tim Howley from Fit for an Autopsy about marketing and branding, because that's what Tim does for another job on top of him playing Fit for an Autopsy. He does a lot of other things, so there's that going on. So I want to kind of we talk about batching episodes. We literally batch episodes because I design the seasons for us so that we have interesting guests for you guys to see.
Yeah,
so we're not just sticking on musicians and stuff like that. Like, you could go to any other podcast and listen to how band's latest record or your favorite band. Really, this podcast is about getting you guys motivated, incentivized and rolling into your career. Man, I would have killed for this when I started out. Like,
it would be nice. It'd be nice something
so you don't have to fall. What's up?
Yeah, it'd be nice to have something to tap into that when you were young, where your dad, you gotta go to the military. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm not
going to the fucking military. My dad never put that on me.
Oh my god. Yeah.
He's like, what are we gonna do? Music school or Full Sail? I was like, Full Sail.
Well, Full Sail is a music, like it's an art school, right? It's a film,
it's a technical school. I mean, now it's a university. It wasn't when I went.
4-year accredited now.
Yes, was through UCF, but I think they're standing on their own these days.
Gotcha. So yeah, guys, we'll be with you this week, and I appreciate you tuning in. Thank you.
All right, guys, we'll see you soon.